Hi, and thanks for joining me today. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about whether or not the concept or idea of learning video or using video for your podcast is making or breaking whether you start a podcast, because I'm seeing that type of talk a lot these days, especially on LinkedIn, where businesses are thinking about launching podcasts or personal brands are thinking about launching podcasts. But this is about video. And if you're somebody who is not really that comfortable or used to doing either, they're not used to doing audio podcasts or podcasts, and they're not used to being on camera. Well, that's putting two things together that you've never done before. And then you're starting to figure out, how am I going to simultaneously do this well? I would say don't even bother with video for now, because first off, a lot of people that are just going to dive into video podcasting, they're probably different from you. They're already comfortable with video, and that's why they're excited to transition their podcast to video. Whereas what we're talking about here is you kind of need it to be one less thing you got to deal with as you develop your very first one. But here's the other important thing that's kind of a extra layer to this, and that's your audience. As creators, we have a tendency to get a little excited about all the things we can do and how cool it's going to be when we put it out there, but we haven't spent enough time thinking about what the audience is going to think. Even marketers do that a lot. They'll create a lot of content at work because that's kind of what they're doing in their marketing mindset. And then they'll go home and they'll look at content just like that and just completely ignore it. So this is a similar thing. And I'm not saying people out there don't like video, but what I will say is people are still very, very comfortable and interested in audio only podcasts. And I would even take this a step further and say that I think people, even if they seek out video podcasts, I don't know how much time they're actually sitting in front of their screen, whether it's mobile, whether it's on their desktop, and watching that. Most of the time, that's an interview podcast, isn't it? And depending on the setup, you're probably going to have, that split screen that spends a lot of time on one shot where half the screen is talking, the other half is. And I don't think anybody's going to watch that for a long period of time. And it's even true if it's able to do one shot, two shot, all that kind of stuff. If it's going for 45 minutes plus, they're probably going to minimize it and listen to it. It's also possible to still stream that on your phone, which I've done at the gym, is I've listened to a podcast that's video, but I'm listening to it and it's streaming from my phone. So if people are going to do that anyway, why not just focus on audio if that's better for you? I mean, you can have your service, your hosting service for your podcast, send the audio file to YouTube. I mean, it's really that simple, and people could listen to it there. It doesn't have the visual, but the most important thing, which is your content, is still there. And here's the other thing that I think is really important: if the context that I'm talking about here fits you, which is, I need to get comfortable with this. And the less I have to deal with, in developing this show, the better, which is really good thinking. You could actually say that by starting with audio, you are giving yourself a chance to do kind of the easier thing first, because you're giving yourself a chance to get used to this, used to being comfortable in front of the microphone, developing your style, developing how you communicate with your audience. And here's the other thing I will tell you, just as a side note, if I could throw this in as well, because I think this is important. One of the reasons why these platforms and these approaches to content are becoming so popular is they're very humanizing. You're having that conversation either through video or audio. And really, you notice how a lot of times when people are on video, they're talking to everybody, when really, just like what I'm doing, they should just be talking to you. The same thing happens on a podcast. You don't want to ever host your podcast like you're talking to all the listeners. You're talking to that one listener that's listening to you right now. So you get in that mindset of being in a conversation with them, and then you suddenly start to get really comfortable with your style and how you want to record it, how you want to edit it, and how you want to produce a really good, solid program. And it doesn't have to take 15 hours to produce an audio show. Spend some quality time on it. Doesn't have to be that long. Make a connection, provide value, and call it good. And get really, really comfortable with this part of it. And then you think, okay, now I'm ready to try video. You can still try video, and it doesn't even have to be part of your podcast. Because here's the other thing, you may not want to conduct interviews in your podcast. You could just simply stick with audio and create new video content. Or the other thing you could do is you could take, maybe a really good topic, maybe that you had on the audio content, and repurpose it and try just doing what I'm doing right now and talk about it through video. Just put it out there, try some things, see what people engage with, build content over time. That's the other thing that you're going to be able to learn is if you can get into a habit of getting that podcast out, usually what's best is every week or every other week, then you're already going to be used to the process you have to follow for yourself to get things out on time. You'll be able to apply that now to video because you're used to it. You've done everything you needed to do to get yourself in a better position to get comfortable in front of the camera. So this is a really good time to do either one of these platforms. But if you're really interested in that podcast content and creating that for you or your business, don't let the concept of I have to figure out video at the same time be one of your big barriers, because you don't have to do it. You really don't. It is perfectly acceptable to just focus on audio. In fact, let me leave you with this. I was on a podcast several weeks ago that has a massive following. I mean, I've known about this podcast for years. I mean, when I first started in this industry, I knew about this podcast. We're talking like 2012, and they're still going. And the host of the show even told me, yeah, this is going to be on video and we'll get some good hits there. But most of our hits are still coming on the audio side. And this is coming from somebody who is well aware of all the trends and how to make them work, because that's why he interviews people. So even a show that's been around forever and has a massive following, those people still want to listen to audio podcasts. So I highly recommend, if you don't want to do video, go with audio, develop that skill. And even if you choose not to turn it into a video podcast, that's perfectly okay. But right now we're just talking about getting you comfortable in front of the mic and connecting with somebody one-on-one through an audio podcast. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. Here are some other videos that might interest you.